Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, let's watch. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. This is the Psychology in Seattle YouTube channel. I want to remind everyone that since this is a psychology YouTube channel, I might say something that might be triggering for some people, so take care. Talk to your therapist before you ever consume things like this on the internet. I usually try to warn people if we're going to get into some particularly graphic areas, but sometimes things just happen, so watch with care. Let's watch.
Kobe's iPad, I saw on the screen that there are apartments for Ohio and like 1-bedroom apartments pulled up, which is really confusing to me. Like, I know that Temperature lives there, but whoa, does this man really think he's moving to Ohio, or he's moving all of us to a 1-bedroom in Ohio?
Okay, well, maybe, or he was just looking at apartments in Ohio for some other reason. So I hope you start this interaction with, so I saw this thing in your iPad. I have no idea what it meant. What does it mean? But, you know, maybe she's right.
I'm trying to feed the horses.
So I was upstairs, like picking stuff up. And I came across the iPad. I was like plugging it in. And there was like a search history for apartments in Ohio, like 1-bedroom apartments.
Wait, a search history? So it sounds like she went through the browser history, which I don't know. What do I think about that? Feels nosy to me. I certainly would never do that to my wife. Like, I would never go on her computer and just look through her search history, you know? Like, it seems like an invasion. Well, it is an invasion of privacy because she would share it with me if she wanted to, right? And she doesn't think I'm going to do it. Now, some couples will share computers, they'll share iPads, and there will be an understanding that that sort of thing might be looked at. She might have looked in the history because she was looking for something that she was looking at earlier or something like that, but it doesn't sound like that.
All right. So what's up with that?
Well, I'm not the one who searched it, so I was just like wondering why you were searching up 1-bedroom apartments.
Okay, so good. She's assuming something, but not stating it as an assumption. She's waiting and giving him a chance. So let's see what he says.
Well,
Really, like right before we get married.
in the first place,
Why did you even go into my app and but? I mean,
it's not really like I was searching. It was just like, I had a conversation with Temperature and then considering moving to Ohio, and then he sends me this link.
Okay, well, there you go. Now, there would be more of a conversation here so that they know what they want and that they're on the same page, which is fine. And, of course, he has as much to say about where they live and what they do as she does, so they're equal partners. They got to work together on this. But anyway, so he's saying that it's his iPad and not hers. And the way she described it, she's like, I was plugging it in, and then I saw the search history. I was plugging it in, and then I entered your code. I opened your browser. I looked in the search history. I browsed through it and looked for something that would bother me. And so, anyway.
Like, we're not moving to Ohio.
We're not moving to Ohio. Little boy, we are not moving to Ohio. Ugh. She could say, I really don't want to, and it'll be very difficult for us, or we'd be giving up a lot, or I don't like it when you... Now, he's saying Temperature sent him a link, he looked at it. That's it. So now, I've been wondering more and more if he is more passive than I think he comes across, that he actually is secretly thinking things and wanting to do things and going behind her back in a sense and not being upfront. Because up until this point, I was thinking, well, he'll let her know if she crosses a line or if the situation gets so bad, but I don't know. But either way, for her just to say, we're not moving to Ohio, that is just not going to happen. And this often comes up on this show. It's a trope, if you will, or a pattern. It's not so much a trope, a pattern of Americans who, I don't know what her deal is, of course, but there seems to be the possibility that some of the Americans on this show are looking for people to marry from abroad because they want to have full control and they expect that, and will hold a green card over their head or privilege over their head, or this is, we're with my community, or I earn more money and that kind of thing. And they're just looking, thinking about Big Ed. He's like, yeah, we're going to have kids. Yeah, totally want to have kids. Almost going to get married. No, I don't want to have kids. I never want to have kids. It's too expensive. What are you talking about? It's ridiculous. It's like this feeling of entitlement and of wanting it to be their way and no one else's way. And often the underprivileged individual has to just suck it up and say, okay, think Shida and Bilal, that kind of thing.
I'm pregnant and we have COVID. I'm not really comfortable moving away from my family.
We are all in America.
We're not moving to Ohio.
She's doing that thing. It's sarcasm. We're not moving. Or condescending / sarcasm. Well, I guess it's not sarcasm. It's condescending. The way you would talk to a child. Honey, we're not moving to Ohio. It's just, instead of, he hasn't said anything. Like, if I were her or if I were there, I'd be like, it's important that you don't have to move to Ohio. He's not packing his bags. But clearly there's a conversation here. How about you ask him what's going on? Because I would think, if I were Emily, that if there's something he wants, maybe there's something he can get without moving to Ohio. What is it about Ohio that is appealing to him? And maybe there's some way to make that work at home here. Also, you could move to Ohio at some point. He's not packing his bags. It's not an impossibility. So for him just to look at an apartment to explore options, it's not ridiculous.
Honey, I want to move out here, but just know I'll never want to move without you guys. All right?
I know, but temperature's working. Like, you can't even work yet. Like, we're not moving anywhere.
Honey.
Like, we're just not.
Okay. Like, you make a big deal.
Yeah. Who knows? There's a possibility that he just clicked on a link and what's the big deal? There's another possibility that he is more underground about his motivations than he's letting on. But I don't know. Either way, they can have a conversation. Look, let's just look at the options. In fact, all y'all out there in relationships, when you hit these kinds of Ys in the road, just take a beat. No one's bleeding. There's no emergency. You don't have to somehow put the kibosh on this. You could just take a beat. And so my advice to y'all is, when you get into these conversations, like, where should we live, or should we move, or should we have kids, or should I quit my job? There's anxiety, of course. There's a lot of implications when those kinds of decisions are made, but you can talk about it. You can assess the options. And when you are undifferentiated, you have that fear. She's having that fear. She's like, crap, if we move to Ohio, we won't have my parents to be around. We'll be monetarily really hard up. My parents won't be there to help us with the kids. I won't be familiar with where we're at. Our parents probably won't want us to move. I don't know anyone in Ohio. I don't know the job market in Ohio. I don't know what, And yeah, it's a huge consequence. Lots of ups and lots of pros and cons, I suppose, maybe more cons. So you have that anxiety, like, crap, I don't want to do that. Okay, so the undifferentiated action is to go, no, and to panic, right? And to just do everything in your power emotionally to shut it down. We're not moving to Ohio. We're not moving to Ohio. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Instead of being like, deep breath. Okay, I'll tell you, I'm resistant to moving to Ohio for a lot of reasons, but okay, let's talk. Let's look at the options. Let's get a dry erase board and write out the pros and the cons. I'm guessing there's going to be more cons, but let's talk about it. Or what do you want with Ohio? What is it that appeals to you? Let's talk about that. Maybe there's a way to make this work. Maybe, I don't know, but there's a possibility for him. He doesn't want to live with the parents anymore. He just wants to live with the four of them, Emily, Kobe, the kids. And maybe if they just live in an apartment in town in Salina, and then the parents can be nearby and it's cheaper there or something. Maybe there's a way to make it work, a compromise, if you will. So, but you can't ever get there unless you have a conversation. And if you just shut it down, one, you run the risk of him having this as a resentment. And two, you run the risk of, if you do this enough, the Kobes of the world, they eventually start to shut down, because when they have a need or a want or a request, or they want to explore something, they actually will have, and I've treated clients like this, that they have an impulse to say, ooh, that'd be nice. And then right away, boom, this almost like a traumatic reaction will kick in. This adrenaline surge will kick in of just like, because it's like you put your hand out enough and you get it slapped. You put your hand out, slap, put your hand out, slap. Eventually, because of conditioning, you start to put your hand out, and your hand starts to hurt, and you can't put your hand out because you're afraid. And that's what it feels like when you've been slapped emotionally every time you bring up an option. You're just like, and you have that reaction in your body and your torso, like, I can't actually say what I'm about to say because I know that a hammer is going to come down on my head. That is an awful feeling. That's an internalized, basically, abuser. Like, the person has got inside your head. So before you even say it, the abuser is actually abusing you. The hammer's coming down before you even utter the request or even think the thought. And so you're stopped in your tracks. That can be extremely demoralizing to someone. But when they get to that point, they're just like, and even when you won't react that way, they're already predicting you will. And they're like a hurt, abused puppy dog that comes around the corner, and that's what you risk when you do this to people. So you have to you're scared. It's fine. Slow down. Let's talk about it. I'm scared right now. I don't want to move to Ohio. There's a lot at stake, but okay. Let's talk, what do you want? Let's talk about it.
Out of nothing, like, come on. Talking with Temperature, and some of the advices he gave me was, there's a huge Cameroonian community over there in Ohio where they always come together. With the help of the friends that I have over there, they can easily help me to get a job.
Okay, I didn't even know that. So that's a huge tick in the pro column, right? Maybe you don't go there, but maybe you do. Or maybe you do in the future, or it's on the possibilities of the future or something like that. Okay, well, that makes total sense. Temperature was in town, they're talking, there's this great community of, my dogs are barking, Cameroonian individuals. Cameroonian, is that what he said? People from Cameroon in Ohio, and you should come out. And then he sends them a link, and he's just like, you should click on the link. What's the prices there? I'm curious. Yeah, makes total sense that he would consider that.
Every decision, everything that I want, I have to make it suit Emily, and it's really hard for me. This relationship will never work for me if I'm the only one making, compromises.
We're not moving to Ohio. Please don't bring it up again.
Yikes. We're not moving to Ohio. Please don't bring it up again. Don't even bring it up again. I don't want to hear you talk. Shut up. You are silenced. That's the end of that. Yikes. All right, well, I want to remind everyone that we have merch. You can click the link below to buy shirts and mugs and stuff like that. And also, I'm on Cameo if you ever want to get a cameo for a birthday or an anniversary or a pep talk or something. I can't provide therapy over Cameo, of course, but, sometimes I can answer a question or sing a song or something. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.